Mr. Clean gets rid of dirt and grime and grease in just a minute.
Mr. Clean will clean your whole house and everything that's in it.
Floors, doors, walls, halls, white sidewalls, tires, and old golf balls.
Sink, stoves, bathtubs he'll do. He'll even help clean laundry too.
Mr. Clean gets rid of dirt and grime and grease in just a minute.
Mr. Clean will clean your whole house and everything that's in it.
My father and how he tried to become Mr. Clean. War over. Back home he came, home again. Courtship, marriage, one son, then two. Wife, house, work, life, everything was all right. A-okay again. The first TV on my block lived in the corner house. We'd sit a safe distance from its snowy screen while Mighty Mouse plowed in and saved each Saturday morning. Before the arrival of Oil Can Harry, we played all the usual games. Catch, Cowboys and Indians, frozen tag. But the big one was war, acted out on a grand scale right there on the front lawn, while my father stared out his living room window, still and emotionless. Our first TV set had rabbit ears and merry melodies. When the picture went haywire, bent and twisted, I played with the reception while my dad crouched down, staring at his reflection in the static storm, still and somewhere else. He read Argosy and Stag and dreamed of a new Studebaker, a Gran Turismo Hawk, but settled for a beat-up blue Chev. It was spotless inside. The lawn was perfect, cropped tight as the hair on his head. Inside, everything had its right and tidy place. Inside, dirt, grease, and grime didn't stand a chance. Inside, hurt, grief, and were they war crimes, did a little better. His Navy buddies, the live ones, came over on weekends and drank themselves into darkness downstairs. First the clowning, then the fighting, and finally the crying. After a while, we rode a 58 Strata Chief. Mario Lanza, Sunday church mornings, afternoon tales of trips on board ship, monkeys atop the Rock of Gibraltar, the locks at Panama. Haas and little Joe came over later on, so my brother and I stayed up, while my father drank wine and sulked. The summer of '63, we went on vacation and drove forever. Very few photos of our grand adventure. One at the zoo, where birds huddled, and a tail-down lion curled up in a cage corner. What I saw made me wonder, was Marlin Perkins a fraud? I think it was around sweeps week when things began changing. The car came home with dents, and the lawn became weeds. He slept in his work clothes, and on weekends he broke things. Little things, at first. Plates, dishes, kids' toys. Later, he progressed to the refrigerator and TV. Lifted things like Mighty Mouse and cleaned our behinds like that guy in the title.
Can he clean a dirty mirror?
He'll make it bright and clear.
Can he clean a diamond ring?
Mr. Clean cleans anything.
Mr. Clean gets rid of dirt and grime and grease in just a minute. Mr. Clean will clean your whole house and everything that's in it. Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
What cigarette do you smoke, Doctor? That question was asked a few years ago of 113,597 doctors. The brand name most was Camel. Recently, that question was again asked of tens of thousands of doctors across the country. Doctors in all branches of medicine. And again, the brand named most was Camel. Yes, according to these nationwide surveys, more doctors smoke Camels than any other cigarette.
My father in the store commanding buy, and they did. My dad knew why. Went in for a lamp, and out they went with a bedroom suit. Store credit at 6%. And a plaster matador thrown in to put before the sofa on the porch near the row house door. But me, I was indifferent. Indifferent very. Downtown I went to the movies and then to the library. Library closing, I glided past the Coatesville Hotel, dreaming of men with atomic brains. I wasn't doing so well. Across the street saw my dad with all those World War Depression men, smoking Chesterfields and Luckies, chewing Sen, almost all gone, almost all now just dust and ash and bone, and I hurried home to watch the twilight zone.
Hey, Columbus, we can't turn back without an order from you. I'm not talking while the flavor lasts. What are you chewing? Peach nut gum? We could be in for a long voyage.
Gondar Avenue, a ribbon, a river, an unlined strip between two concrete curbs, the field of dreams, the battlegrounds, launching pad and runway where at 4 p.m. each afternoon the jolly bells wheeled down the summer air, and sprinted we all outward toward the truck upon that sacred trail, clutching a little silver to exchange with the kind-headed man in white for something cold and sweet. Then later, in the lamp-glow home base Oxen, free of summer evenings, we lay beneath the cypress out of sight and tasted something warm and sweet, forbidden touches, gasping for breath without having run an inch. Then snuck we together toward the pole touching, and we were home safe and flush with life. I look out and I hear the knell from my room in the Coatesville Hotel. Oh, why can't it be as it was before, a few years after 54? In fact, it would be great if we could go back to 58, and I think it would be my plan to be kinder to Richie Halloran, who has been buried since, I quite forget, no matter, I could see him yet. At the age of 10 in Central Park, it's almost 9 and getting dark. And he tells me it's his fondest dream to be on the Coatesville Little League baseball team. To be like the other guys, you know. And I tell him that he cannot throw. You cannot throw, you cannot hit, and you don't know baseball from shit. And besides, they have but little wit. Oh, Richie Halloran. Okay then, I will reveal how I back then did really feel. Richie Halloran was my friend and had told me of his coming end. The doctors said that his dizzy spells meant he wasn't doing well, and he heard his mom and dad crying, he said. I was so sad. And his mom had told the nuns, who had told the moms, who had told their sons, who considered him the walking dead. I want to be like those guys, he said. So we were there in Central Park, almost 9 and getting dark. Christ, you're dumb, I did remark to Richie Halloran. Poor Arnold Gates. When Arnold Gates pushed me down on the lawn of his home for some smart remark I had made to him, he didn't realize that my mother had seen him manhandle her boy. Like the Wicked Witch from The Wizard of Oz, in which she'd had a dancing part, she whirled down on him, shaking her finger like a broomstick in his face, and swearing to God she'd have his hide if he ever did it again. I felt bad about the whole affair, since Arnold was a World War II vet who'd been sent back from the front shell-shocked. He'd married a Cockney woman named Connie, who we all loved. But I was secretly glad that my mother, whose fury I was familiar with, knew just how to fire for effect. Peggy LaRue. I think it must have been 62. That was the year that Peggy LaRue, an all-around decent girl, walked up Gondar Avenue, across Wardlow, to the wooden bridge, over Coyote Creek, and was hit by a car crossing the diagonal. She was a model kid, even managed to hold her head up when the others razzed her about being Robbie the Ram, our high school mascot. She was popular with jocks and surfers and the hard guys too, because she, though smarter than them all, never had a lick of arrogance, nor an unkind word for any of the fucked up souls who so much deserved a few. I remember wondering why her, why not someone like Rich Noble, who made it through Vietnam and died drag racing on PCH, or some other asshole. But God was in a shitty mood that day he killed Peggy LaRue crossing the diagonal, and I've never trusted him since.
You can take Salem out of the country, but you can't take the country out of Salem. You can take Salem out of the country, but you can't take the country out of Salem. You can take Salem out of the country, but you can't take the country out of Salem. You can take Salem out of the country, but
Go tell the Aikians, go tell the Aikians that here obedient to their wish we lie, or something like that. I remember Drizzle and Coatesville meeting Kevin outside the bongo, always smoking then. That rich bitch, Lucy McIlvaine, jumped off the bridge at Exton, looking around for the police. She was high on acid, here it is. Something to do with her name, I said, and Kevin laughed. Probably sold it to her. We didn't want to remember, but I do now. A pink VW. Slow down. Her grinding the gears, talking about meeting the Panthers, her blue veined hand. Small girl, fluttering. Read Catcher in the Rye at least 20 times, she said, asking about Kevin, Gary, Steve. Kevin's in California last I heard. Gary joined the Marines. How about that? Nervous girl, fallen, no one to catch her. 30 more years later. Go tell the Aikians, whatever that should mean.
Viva USA in your Chevrolet. America is asking you to call. Drive your Chevrolet through the USA. America's the greatest land of all. On a highway or a road along a levee. Performance is sweeter, nothing can beat her. Life is completer in a Chevy. So make a date today to see the USA and see it in your Chevrolet.
Going to Goodland. Frank Gum, the Happy Hopi from Ash Fork, Arizona. Drunk as a skunk, caught us sitting on the curb outside the early morning bar in Gallup, New Mexico. 1963, eating sardines and saltines for breakfast after driving all day and night from Prescott. Take me with you, boys, he said. He pulled a straw hat off his head, wiping the sweat off his brow, reeking of booze with a lecherous grin in his canyoned face. We thought for a minute and said, buy us some beer, and we will. We gave him $1. He went back in the bar, and thinking better of it all, we hauled ass past the crumpled bodies littering the gutters and sidewalks. Broken bottles, whores, run-down motels, and at last the desert with its long red oil roads and thunderbird skies trailing lightning and rain so hard we couldn't drive. Wickenburg, Albuquerque, Tucumcari. We sang, Tucumcari more than one, so give us a couple of beers. We left the route and headed more north. Dalhart, Cortez, Lamar, Ead, Cheyenne Wells. Finally, we got to Kansas. We knew it when we saw the corn.
Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you.
sleep.